Apologies for that. Don't know what happened there. Welcome to Premier League Live this evening with me, Kevin Ferris, on this Saturday evening as we kick off Matchday 36 in the Premier League. 3 weeks to go until another season is done and dusted, and there's still quite a bit to play for, including those European places. And we watch two sides tonight in Bournemouth and Aston Villa, who both have European spots to fight for. Villa, after Man City's droppage of points earlier, can put pressure on the top five with a win this evening at the Vitality, but a Bournemouth side with still Europe on their hands after Brighton and Brentford's wins, they have the chance to respond to return back to 8th with a win this evening. It's all to play for at the Vitality Stadium, and let's show you what that situation in the fight for Europe looks like then here this evening, starting with kind of the fixtures between now that calendar list between now and the end of the season, starting with Man City there, as you saw, 0-0 draw away at Southampton earlier this afternoon. It means Southampton cannot and will not be record equalers for the lowest points finish ever. Their 12 points now takes them out of that conversation. So Manchester City, a big drop of points, 2 points massively dropped after they pummeled Southampton but could not find a way through. Newcastle face Chelsea tomorrow, that's 12 o'clock on LFS, so those two face each other tomorrow. Nottingham Forest will host Leicester later after that Newcastle-Chelsea game, and of course tonight Aston Villa heading to Bournemouth is a massive game. Let's show you what that means for the table then after this afternoon's results. Manchester City only pick up a single point away at Southampton. That means they have 65 points after 36 games, a plus 24 goal difference. If we go down, 4th and 5th, now Chelsea and Newcastle both can't go above Man City tomorrow as they play each other. So that's a chance for Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa to really capitalise. But it would be massive for either Chelsea or Newcastle to win to go above Man City tomorrow. That would be a massive incentive for one of those two teams. They start in 4th and 5th on 63 points. Nottingham Forest still in the conversation on 61. If one of those two teams between Newcastle and Chelsea lose tomorrow, Forest might have the chance to leapfrog them in the table, and Aston Villa as well in that conversation. A win for them tonight would put pressure on the top five as they would equal the points tally of Newcastle and Chelsea before them two play tomorrow. But if they lose tonight, Villa, surely that would be their hopes of a top five finish diminishing right in front of them. Let's show you then where the top five have to go and what way it has turned out for them in the recent few weeks. So third place Manchester City, 2 wins and a draw from their last 3 games, dropping points at Southampton away today. They still have Bournemouth hosting Bournemouth and then a trip to Fulham on the final day for City. For Newcastle, it's a really tough end of the season. Chelsea at home, a trip to Arsenal, and then Everton at home on the final day. Chelsea, they play 2 of the battlers in the top 5 race, Newcastle and Forest, both away from home on matchday 36 and 38, and Man United sandwiched in between that. European finalists now Manchester United, as are Chelsea of course, in the Conference League final. Nottingham Forest host Leicester tomorrow, then trip to West Ham next week before a final day matchup against Chelsea, and then Aston Villa don't have an easy run of it either to the finish line. Bournemouth away tonight, Tottenham at home next week, and Man United away on the final day. So it is not easy for Aston Villa either. Let's show you what the table looks like then here this evening coming into this one. For Bournemouth, as I said, both Brentford and Brighton winning earlier this afternoon means Bournemouth are in 10th, but they can jump back above those two teams with a win this evening and jump up to 8th. And 8th could be a European place come the end of the season. Remember, even if Bournemouth win tonight, they would only be 4 points off Aston Villa heading into the final 2 games of the season, and it is not a do-or-die situation. Villa haven't secured 7th, so it is not done or dusted yet on that front either. So Villa might be maybe looking a bit behind them after this weekend if they lose to Bournemouth. Fulham losing their chance of possibly getting any European spot with another defeat this afternoon, a defeat at home to Everton. And Everton side up to 13th now, 42 points from their season so far. They could still finish around about 12th is their highest finish for Everton there. A quick look at those results from earlier this afternoon then. Fulham beaten 3-1 at home to Everton. They actually took the lead in that one, the home side, but 3 unanswered goals from Mikalenko, Keane and Beto meant Everton left West London with all 3 points. Another big win for a West London side. This time it's Ipswich Ipswich losing at home against Brentford. Kevin Shada with the only goal of that game, giving Brentford all 3 points. It was a 0-0 draw between Southampton and Man City. Despite that fact, Manchester City had 26 shots in that game and over 70% possession, but still 0-0 finished there. And Brighton making easy work in the end of Wolverhampton Wanderers. Danny Welbeck and Gruda getting the 2 goals either side of the half to put Brighton up to 9th in the table. Right, that's the way it looks heading into our evening game here at the Vitality Stadium. And let's get you the team news. Starting with the home side, Bournemouth. They start with Kepa in goal. A back 4 of Adam Smith, the captain, Ilya Zabarnyi, Dean Howson and Milos Kerkez in defence. In midfield, Lewis Cook is joined alongside Tyler Adams. Alex Scott is in the 10. On the right side of a front 3 is Antoine Semenyo. On the left side is Marcus Tavernier. And through the middle, leading the line, is Evan Nielsen. On the bench for Bournemouth, Dennis, Araujo, Hill, Senesi, Soler, Brooks, Clivert, Winterburn and Jebison. For Unai Emery's Aston Villa, Emi Martinez starts in goal and captains Villa today. In defence, Matty Cash, Ezri Konsa, Tyrone Mings and Luke Digne are the back 4. In midfield, Boubacar Kamara, Amadou Onana, and Marco Asensio in the 10. Morgan Rogers on the right side, Jacob Ramsey on the left, and leading the line, Ollie Watkins for Villa tonight. On the bench for the visitors, Olsen, Disasi Garcia, Matson, Torres Bailey, Barkley McGinn and Doniel Malen. Two sides with Europe on their minds, but a defeat for either side means maybe that European glory is diminishing. Kick-off at the Vitality Stadium between Bournemouth and Aston Villa is next. A very good evening. Welcome to Premier League Live this Saturday evening here on LFS with me, Kevin Ferris. It's Bournemouth against Aston Villa this evening. Looking forward to this one tonight. Excuse me, as the players swap sides. Obviously, I'm guessing Aston Villa won the toss as the players are swapping sides. So Villa in their away strip this evening of that all white with their claret trimmings and claret text. And Bournemouth, of course, in their home strip of black and red. So we're all but ready to get underway. Our referee this evening is Stuart Atwell here at the Vitality, as the Bournemouth players get themselves ready on this one. And we'll get you the VAR in a second. The VAR this afternoon is Chris Kavanagh. So Stuart Atwell, the referee, Chris Kavanagh, the VAR. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications. If you haven't done so already, that'd be greatly appreciated. And we thank you all for watching us this evening and across this weekend here in LFS. It's been busy the last number of days, but we wouldn't want it any other way as we come to another incredible conclusion to another great season in all these competitions, and it's the Premier League and two sides hoping for Europe next season as we get underway at the Vitality Stadium. Two very good sides. Looking forward to this one tonight. They drew their reverse fixture. That lead equaliser from Bournemouth at Villa Park secured them a point early in the season, all the way back in late October that was. And we'll see what can arise here this evening, because of course there's no doubt Bournemouth have been one of the surprise packages this season, and you know, a record points finish they're well on in getting. They've already achieved that, 53 points coming into this one. Their previous highest record in the Premier League was 48 points, so already beaten that by 5 with 3 games still to go, so they can really have an incredible season under Andone Iraola. For Aston Villa, a season that probably promised so much, but their form hasn't been as convincing in recent weeks for Villa. They've kind of dropped off the mark a little bit and fell away a little bit from that top 5 race. As I said, if they lose tonight, that'll be only their second defeat in 3. They really haven't massively stepped off the mark, Aston Villa. But those defeats away at Man City, and then of course that defeat in the FA Cup, but that Man City defeat has really been one of those, and they were chasing from a long way away, were Villa of course. They were not in the race for a while for Champions League, and they got themselves in that battle, but maybe just not doing enough, or the team's maybe not dropping enough points around them to give them a look in. Man City drawing away at Southampton might give them another little glimpse of something positive from this season. 9 points left to play for Villa. Their highest points tally they can get to is 69 between now and the end of the season. Man City on 65 as it stands with 2 games to go. So it's not out of the realms of possibility that Villa can find a way back in this campaign. 2 draws for Man City in their final 2 games, and they're right back in the mix. Are Villa, and Man City could be on the chopping block. So anything's still possible for Aston Villa, of course. They'll have a tough task here against Bournemouth this evening. As I say, a Bournemouth side that are having a great season so far, of unbeaten in the last 5 Premier League games since a 2-1 home defeat to Ipswich in early April. And here comes Tavernier down the right side. Gets past Digne. Inside it comes to Alex Scott. He just recycles it back towards Dean Howson. Out wide it comes to Semenyo on the left side here. Going for the deep cross, but it's far too much from Antoine Semenyo to get anywhere near threatening in the Aston Villa box. Decent little move from the 2 wingers there, Antoine Semenyo and Marcus Tavernier. Tavernier starting this one this evening, and Alex Scott in the attack. A little bit of a surprise, Justin Kluivert just on the bench this evening for Bournemouth, which is of interest. Marcus Tavernier, his 18th start of the season in the Premier League. His last goal involvement for Bournemouth was in a 2-2 draw away at Tottenham back in March. Last time he got a goal involvement at home was in the 5-0 win over Nottingham Forest. He got an assist in that game against Forest. That was all the way back in late January for Marcus Tavernier. There's a free kick here for Villa on the edge of their own box. Emi Martinez, who has the captain's armband today for Villa, will take the free kick, arrowing towards Morgan Rogers. Well won by Kerkez, who was battling with Rogers. No way forward for Antoine Semenyo. Throw into Aston Villa there. And that man Evan Nielsen, of course, was shown a red card in his last home game against Manchester United. That red card was ultimately rescinded shortly afterwards when the application was made, the appeal was made by Bournemouth. Here's Jacob Ramsey for Villa, trying to dribble into the box, has to turn away. Onana with the ball in, just far too close to Kepa Arrizabalaga there. Again, some early glimpses of both sides trying to find bodies in the box, trying to get good crosses into the area. 2 very good sides. I expect to see a good game tonight, a good competitive match between these two. And 55 goals this season between them, or each actually, so 110 goals between them this season. And their defences, 49 conceded for Villa, 42 conceded for Bournemouth in terms of goals. Bournemouth actually the best defence outside of the top 6. They have conceded the least amount of goals of any side outside of the top 6 of Bournemouth this season. And only the top 5 have conceded less than them this season. With that, Forest in 6th on 42 goals conceded as well. So Bournemouth are certainly competitive defensively with those teams above them, and that's probably why 2 of their starting defenders tonight have been massively linked with moves away. Dean Howson and Milos Kerkez, massive moves apparently on the horizons for those two players, and Young as well, Got the youthful experience on their side, the 21-year-old Milos Kerkez and the 20-year-old Dean Howson. So fairly young, performing at such a high level. Is what was impressive as Tyrone Mings was just fouled there by Alex Scott as the Bournemouth man tried to win the ball. And he's actually come off worse of the two players there, Scott. So he's down holding his head, it seems. So just a stoppage here at the moment in this one. A reminder for you, we'll keep you right up to date with the European race all the way throughout this weekend until the end of the season. We have a massive, massive game for you tomorrow as two of the top 5 battlers go head-to-head at St James's Park. That's tomorrow, 12 noon, lunchtime, midday, whatever you want to call it, at 12 o'clock tomorrow, lunchtime here on LFS. That is going to be a massive game. Massive, massive game. And we'll have that one live for you here on LFS, along with the champions hosting Arsenal tomorrow at 4:30 on LFS as well. That's our Premier League doubleheader for this weekend. Alex Scott still getting treatment here. And Done Iraola is claiming that I think Tyrone Mings elbowed Alex Scott. He lost. Oh. To be fair, he does kind of elbow him. Does he mean to? Is he just trying to shield the ball? I think he's just trying to shield the ball. Certainly Andone Areola, of course, would obviously not see it that way. And Scott back to his feet and a smile shared between the two there, Scott and Mings. And Alex Scott just coming to the sideline here after receiving his treatment. I don't think Chris Kavanagh, the VAR, was looking for a possible red card there for Tyrone Mings. If he was, we weren't told about it. But, yeah, nothing comes of that. Just an unfortunate collision between the two players. We're back underway. Scott on the sideline, return very shortly. So Bournemouth down to 10 for the moment. There's a ball over the top. And got rid there was Adam Smith, who has his 400th appearance today for Bournemouth. The 34-year-old, the captain. 400 Bournemouth appearances is some feat. That number of appearances coming over the last 10 seasons for Bournemouth, all the way back to 2015-16. Incredible. Long throw from Villa here. Oh, not cleanly dealt with by Kepa. And it's bounced up in the air, and the referee's going to give a foul Bournemouth's way. Antoine Semenyo was down there, so a free kick to Bournemouth. But again, it wasn't convincing. Kepa tried to grab at it, and it kind of flapped between his hands as he tried to clap it into his hands, and it just fell away. Got lucky there, did the Bournemouth keeper, and in the end Antoine Semenyo fouled, so free kick the way of the home side. And Kepa now feeling a little bit of pain after that moment. It's his one of his fingers on his left hand that's not in a good way, so Kepa's going to have to receive a bit of treatment. The sub-goalkeeper for Bournemouth, Will Dennis, 24-year-old, come through the Bournemouth Academy, has made one appearance this season for Bournemouth in his career. That was in an FA Cup game back in 2021 for Will Dennis. That was in a 4-1 win over Oldham Athletic back in January 2021 in the FA Cup. It's the only game that he has ever registered for Bournemouth. And was on loan in the Scottish Premiership last season with Kilmarnock, I believe that was. But Kepa looks like he's okay to continue for the moment. He's putting his left glove back on, so it should be okay. But Will Dennis was warming up, the sub-goalkeeper for Bournemouth, as a precaution, just in case Kepa couldn't continue, but he will be okay. James in the chat says, hi all, thanks for the stream. Great to have you with us, James, for this one this evening. Who are you backing? Let us know. It's great to have you with us, and everybody with us this evening for this one, between Bournemouth and Aston Villa. Good Premier League tussle here on this Saturday night, after a very interesting afternoon of football in the Premier League and those 4 3 o'clock kickoffs. As Kepa takes this free kick that was awarded a good 2 minutes ago to Bournemouth, and they play out from the back. Here's Ilya Zabarnyi to Adams. Cross now to Howson. Trying to drive forward here, Dean Howson. Gets across the halfway line. Goes a bit of a straight ball forward, and as he lost it, tried to win it back, but committed the foul in the process there. Dean Howson. Free kick to Aston Villa. It was a nice idea to break forward, but there's just no pass on, and didn't really make much of it in the end. The Bournemouth centre-back, as Matty Cash was fouled again. This time by Tyler Adams. Bournemouth are playing a very high press so far, and I mean that's what we expect to see from Andoni Iraola's Bournemouth. Something they're not going to stray away from. It's what they're so often used to playing, as that wasn't a great clearance by Emi Martinez for Villa. But they've lost it in midfield here, have Bournemouth, and breaking away is Onana, and he's fed it through here for Ollie Watkins. It falls now to Ramsey, who hits it wide. Nice breakaway there from Villa. Again, it was Amadou Onana. It was loose in midfield from Bournemouth. They give it away. Onana charging up the middle. Squares it across to Watkins. Not a great first touch or second touch from Ollie Watkins. It bobbles away from him, and it finds its way to Jacob Ramsey at the edge of the box. He tries to curl one with a right foot towards the far right corner, and it just can't find the net. Goes wide for a goal kick. And that was a decent breakaway opportunity for Aston Villa. Here comes another one. Kamara this time with the through ball. Watkins holding the line. Can't find a teammate. And it breaks apart. Now Bournemouth want to maybe hit a counter. We know what kind of threat and pace Bournemouth have on the break. Not in a hurry though. Scott gives it out wide to Kirkes. Down the line to Semenyo. Up against Cash. Got Kamara for cover, but Semenyo, nice little 1-2 with Cook there, who picks it up down the left channel to Kirkes. And now back inside to Dean Howson. Howson steps across his man, feeds it out wide. Back inside. You're a Villa fan, James. Good to have you with us. And ZM7, great to have you with us as well this evening. Once again. Zabarnyi. Right to the right hand side is Tavernier. Back to Smith, who has to go back to Ilya Zabarnyi again. Possession a bit 50-50 so far, 53-47 in Bournemouth's favour. As Howson's ball over the top was targeting Tavernier, but not cleared away by Lucadinha. Nicely held up by Watkins, although the square ball to Onana was a little bit awkward, and Scott might have had a glimpse, but Onana comes away with it. And the ball flicked over the top now as Watkins made the run in behind, and well cleared by Kepa in the Bournemouth goal. And Alex Scott's gone down again. Says he was caught in the face again. This time by Amadou Onana. To say it again. Nah, there wasn't much in that for me. Amadou Onana was given a bit of a hospital pass across the midfield, and he did well to control it. No bother, ZM7. See you shortly. No worries. Alex Scott now receiving treatment again. That's the third time a Bournemouth player has been down. Scott, the second time he's been down in the first 16 minutes of this game. And, of course, I think it's 3 times you go down and you have to be substituted. I don't know whether that's 3 times of the same issue, but he's now going to get some treatment. And some tablets there, it seems like, to deal with the pain. But Justin Kluivert is the one watching keenly on, warming himself up on the sidelines, just in case Alex Scott needs to be replaced here for Bournemouth. Scott back up on his feet, still holding his face. There's still a little bit of pain there for Alex Scott. He's in real pain. It's his left jaw, the left side of his jaw. He's not particularly comfortable with at the minute, and I think that might be the end of his afternoon. It looks like it. Alex Scott not in a great position there. Looked in real pain. I think he actually might be coming back on, but and we get back on the way. So Bournemouth again down to 10 for the moment. Second time Alex Scott's had to be sent to the sidelines. He's going to be returning to the field here in a moment, which I thought was a bit strange. It looked like he couldn't continue, but he will be okay. James says, well, Vitality Stadium is better for boxing than football anyway. Nothing wrong with a few accidental smacks. Well, I gotta say, there was no malice in any of the two contacts with Alex Scott, in my opinion. As Kamara's ball across the box was well cleared away by Zabarnyi. He wants to come back on, Scott. He's waved on now by the referee, Stuart Atwell. Lovely this from Villa. Here's Mings across. The bubbling effort. It's cleared away by Tyler Adams there. And Evan Nielsen battling with Onana and winning the throw-in for Bournemouth. Here is Scott again. Out wide to Tavernier. Evan Nielsen bursting down the right channel. Has to reverse it back into Tavernier's path. And back to Scott again. Villa have ample bodies back to cover this. And Bournemouth will just return it back to their centre-backs. Move right way, pushed up the field. Here's Semenyo on the left-hand side now for Bournemouth. Cook. Back to Howson. Now Lewis Cook. Settling in possession now, Bournemouth. Trying to have a little more of the ball. Well, Villa probably the only clear-cut effort on goal. That Jacob Ramsey chance that was sent wide from that breakaway, but nothing of real great note for either team in an attacking sense so far, as Lucadinha has to rescue a clearance. Out for a throw-in to Bournemouth. High up the field for the Cherries. Well, I was thinking, and I'm hearing all the talk a lot about kind of it still being a European place. I still can't wrap my head around how it would be. It's a bit complicated. There's so many permutations that can happen with so many teams in Europe. Here's Alex Scott, delivers in. The flick ball was right into the hands of Emi Martinez from Evan Nielsen's header. It's a little bit better from Bournemouth. Nice cut back by Tavernier into space. Good delivery by Scott. And it's Evan Nielsen's glancing header that is nicely caught by Emi Martinez. I think it might take a deflection off Onana as well on the way through there. Just a simple gather for the Villa keeper, as Ramsey was well challenged there by Scott. And Bournemouth have it on the brick here down the right. Tavernier. 20 minutes gone. 0-0 here at the Vitality Stadium. We've had quite a remarkable week. The drama of those semi-final second legs of the Champions League. The two first leg semi-finals of the Championship playoffs. In the last two evenings. And this evening, a real battle for Europe in the Premier League. As that's a real tussle. And Kierke is trying to win a corner. Well cleared by Konsa. Bournemouth starting to take a little bit more control of this game now. Scott. Semenyo. Back to Howson all the way back there. And Zabarnyi. Villa just stepping off a little bit. Bournemouth going in confidence, although that combination down the right between Smith and Tavernier didn't quite work. And that's a lovely bit of skill from Ramsey. A lot deeper than where he would like to be. Here as he lays it off to Onana. And out wide it comes to Asensio. Ramsey. Back it goes to Dina. Lovely little turn by Onana. And chips it over the top. There's space here. Hyson's on a one-on-one tussle with Watkins, and the young defender heads it simply back to his goalkeeper. And there has been a little bit of a dispute between Ollie Watkins and Marcus Rashford, of course, for the starting centre-forward position. Of course, Rashford injured for this one this afternoon, and along with Yuri Tielemans as well, which is a big blow for Villa. Two big players for them. And Ollie Watkins, not too shabby for the experienced centre-forward. 15 Premier League goals this season, so he's still delivering. Got a goal and assist in that 4-1 win over Newcastle a few weeks ago. And scored in the 3-0 win over Southampton, so it's not an awful run of form for Ollie Watkins. He's picking up with a goal here and there for Aston Villa. 15 goals on the season is not too bad. Of course, he'll want to improve it, and he'll probably know that he can do better. He's shown in the past that he can do better. Ollie Watkins, halfway through the half. Bournemouth 0, Villa 0. Here's Semenyo, charging down the left side. Had Rodgers and Cash in his way, and on that occasion there was no way for Antoine Semenyo to break through. He might have a little issue with his jaw there. A goal kick to Villa. James says, I think it's 5 Champions League places, 6th and 7th for the Europa League. If City win the FA Cup, leaves 7th for Conference League, at least I think, or leaves 8th for Conference League. Yeah, it is quite confusing, but then if Chelsea win the Conference League, then they would have automatically qualified for Europa League, but if they finish in the Champions League places, that's even different. And then with Man United or Tottenham, both not anywhere near the top 8, if they win the Europa League, well, one of them will win the Europa League, and then if Crystal Palace win the FA Cup, but they're not going to be in the top 5 race, it's very confusing. But we could have a situation where, I mean, the likes of Crystal Palace and two of the bottom half sides in the Premier League have a European place next season, or in Europe next season, and a team maybe like Brighton or Brentford or Bournemouth might not. I mean, that's crazy. That's sometimes the way the cookie crumbles, in a sense. It's how competitive it's been this season, and it's quite fantastic to watch. But yeah, it is a little bit, there's so many permutations for it, because on some occasions it does drop down and some it doesn't, so it's still a little bit confusing. But yeah, if City win the FA Cup and get Champions League football, then yeah, the Europa League place will drop an extra place down. The Conference League would then drop to 8th. So I can understand. That was a little bit confusing from my point of view. But yeah, I kind of understand it now. But it is, no doubt about it, fascinating. Oh, the Premier League actually released a little graphic about it. That's actually quite nice. About it. Yeah, that's another thing. Newcastle won the Carabao. If they finish in the top, then the Carabao Cup winners get a Conference League place. But if they finish in the top 5, I don't think it drops down any further. I think there's only 1 Conference League place, not 2. Even if Newcastle finish in the top 5, I don't think there's that extra place there. I don't think that's possible. My goodness me. Even looking at this. So how could 8th qualify? This is how maybe Bournemouth could be in Europe next season, just to clarify for you. An 8th place finish in the Premier League could be rewarded with entry into Europe next season. If Man City win the FA Cup, whilst also qualifying for Europe through their league position, and Newcastle also qualify through their league position after winning the EFL Cup, the 2 European places given to the domestic trophy winners will be passed down the league table. The prospect of the 8th place team qualifying for Europe means Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton and Fulham all have European football as an incentive as they head into their remaining Premier League matches. In fact, as things stand, Bournemouth, Brentford and Brighton could still secure 7th place, and even 6th is in reach, of course. The only head-to-head match with the quartet is on the 18th of May when Fulham visit Brentford. So, yeah, if Man City and Newcastle both finish in the top 5 and Newcastle or Man United or Man City, win the FA Cup, then 8th would be a European spot, no matter what happens in those other European finals. My goodness. They certainly love to give us something complicated. And that's a late challenge there by Alex Scott. It's going to get him a yellow card, I believe. It will do for that late tussle on that breakaway. And he gets himself a booking. It was Onana that was fouled. It's a little bit late, a grab on the right arm of Amadou Onana. And Alex Scott gets himself a yellow card. I'll bring up at half-time, just to clarify for you what I've just read. I'll bring that up at half-time just to give a bit of clarity. James says the fact that Man United qualify for Europe via Cup and now will probably also qualify for the UCL via Cup is a bit nuts. I mean, mental. Man United could be in the champion. I mean, either Man United or Spurs. The fact that one of those two teams will be in the Champions League next season is just mental. Absolute nuts. Asensio with a free kick for Villa. Cleared away by Scott, who committed the foul for the free kick. Camera lifting it back towards the box, but cleared away, and trying to break away was Evan Nielsen, who was taken down, and it's going to be a yellow card for Marco Asensio for a little late lunge there. Yeah, see it, Evan Nielsen breaks away, steps away, the ball was gone, and Asensio just leaves a little late right foot there on his man, and he gets his second yellow card of the season. That's not Maroc, that's not his name. Marco Asensio, there you are. Just confirmation of that. So still 0-0 here at the Vitality. Bournemouth have had more of the possession, 65% of the ball. 2 shots to Villa's 1. But Villa's 1 effort actually created more of a goal-scoring chance than Bournemouth's 2 shots so far. So fairly even is what we'll call it at the moment in this one. Bournemouth, with the only shot on target so far. And that was Evan Nielsen's glanced header that found the hands of Emi Martinez. So again, nothing too threatening. That's a lovely run by Evan Nielsen in behind. He's chested it down. And Mings has to cover. Wins a corner for Bournemouth. Does Evan Nielsen there. Lovely ball by Zabarny over the top. Evan Nielsen times his run perfectly in behind. Chip ball over the back of the defence. And the chest down from Evan Nielsen gives Mings a little glimpse. And it's smart from Evan Nielsen. He knows he's not going to get a shot off from there. And settles for the corner. The first corner of the afternoon. Villa conceded the least amount of goals from corners this season of any Premier League side. Only 2. As Bournemouth goes short. Nice trying to combination, but the Tavernier couldn't retrieve it. That's come to nothing. Nicely won back though by Scott off the Villa players there. Adams wide to Tavernier. Tavernier comes inside, goes across to Zabarny, pushing very, very high Bournemouth. The ball switched into the box towards Tavernier, but it just whiskered away. Dean Howson, I gotta say, the Bournemouth centre-backs are turning themselves into some sort of inverted fullbacks at the minute, whipping these balls forward, causing a goal threat of their own. And on that occasion, Dean Houston's ball just evaded Marcus Tavernier the very last second. Villa trying again, get forward. Rodgers' ball forward was easily thumped away by Dean Houston, but no way through. 30 minutes gone, 0-0. Unai Emery holding a ball here on the sideline, telling his player to kind of hurry up, and he's still got a hold of the ball here, Unai Emery. As Matty Cash will take this throw in down the right. Long throw up the channel. Bouncing ball. Adams gets a header, not cleanly cleared though, and it falls to Jacob Ramsey here in a good space. Rolls it back to the edge of the box. No one in white there to claim it, and Evan Nielsen can pin it away. Semenyo. Space here for Bournemouth. Can they get forward? Cook has to reverse it back towards Zabarny. Bournemouth looking the sharper of the two teams and getting a bit more joy from their football at the moment. at this moment in time. Turn of their centre-backs looking threatening so far. Bournemouth, Dean Huyson and Ilya Zabarnyi. Here they are again. Zabarnyi. Out wide to Smith. A little bit of a heavy touch. Late foul on him. The referee plays advantage. Tavernier. Inside it comes. Scott. Out wide to Kirkes on the left. Milos Kirkes takes on Rodgers. Ball cleared away by Konsa. Back out wide it goes. Adams. Cook back to Tyler Adams. Now Huyson. Down the line to Kirkes. Chops inside, linking up with Semenyo. Just about keep the ball there, Bournemouth. Nice work in between the lines. Adams squares it across to Smith. Has to turn it back to Zabarnyi. They're dominating the game, the home side. It's not finding a way through this Villa defence at the moment. And this Villa team, as they're sitting compact as a team at the minute, as a unit, the Villa players, Bournemouth can't quite find a way through at the moment. Here's Tyler Adams again. Ilya Zabarnyi. Down the right flank it goes to Tavernier. Turns it back to Smith, but the ball from Tavernier had crossed the sideline. Throw into Aston Villa. Well, Bournemouth had that great result away at Arsenal last weekend, claiming a massive victory against the Gunners. Only the second side to win at the Emirates this season in the Premier League. Dean Huyson and Evan Nielsen were the two that scored in that comeback victory after Declan Rice gave Arsenal the lead in that one. And that really unsettled Arsenal for second place as Evan Nielsen battling Mings there. Almost found a way through, but Mings did just about enough. For Bournemouth, that's a massive confidence booster against one of the top sides in the division, winning away at Arsenal. Give them that real boost last week after they probably had one of the toughest fixtures. It's only their second win in that 5-game unbeaten run. 3 of their last 5 games have ended in a draw, Bournemouth. Drew with Man United. They thought they were going to win that game, but of course that late equaliser on that day from Rasmus Højlund denied Bournemouth the 3 points. 10-man Bournemouth with 3 points, remember, after Evan Nielsen was sent off in that game. And the week prior to that, Bournemouth couldn't beat a 10-man side either in Crystal Palace away from home. And they drew 0-0. They haven't actually won a game by more than a 1-goal margin, Bournemouth, since the 3-1 win over Southampton back in February. That 5-game unbeaten run, there's only been a 1-goal difference between the sides, in which Bournemouth have won those 2 games by a single goal. So tight games, but Bournemouth finding the right moments and the advantages in those very tight matches. Certainly recently. And the job that Andoni Iraola is doing it with Bournemouth is just remarkable. Just quite sensational, really, when you really analyse it and deep it, in a sense. He's won 34 of his 84 games in charge of Bournemouth. 20 draws, 30 defeats for him. A 42-year-old. Still quite young for a head coach in the Premier League. Not the youngest, but certainly one of the youngest in the league. Scott. Out wide to Semenyo. Down the line it goes to Kirkes. Nice. Scott again inside. Chipping it across. And the header from Digne was a little awkward. Tavernier trying to usher it out and wins the corner. It's well held up by Marcus Tavernier there. The header by Luca Digne wasn't the most convincing. Marcus Tavernier ekes out a corner out of that situation. 10 minutes to go in the first half. Still goalless. And Bournemouth with their second corner of the game. On this right hand side. They've been the better side so far, Bournemouth. Narrowly. Tavernier. That link up with the short corner works out this time, but the return ball by Tavernier couldn't quite find a teammate. And they've given it away cheaply again, Bournemouth. And a break on here for Aston Villa. And it's Ramsey that was caught a little late there by Semenyo, who claimed he got the ball. The referee says no, it's going to be a free kick to Villa. The Villa players claiming there was Should be a card be shown here by Stuart Atwell. We'll see it again. It's not last man, Antoine Semenyo. It's definitely not a red card. Is it a yellow for stopping a promising attack? I mean, he did get none of the ball, it looked like, from that angle. Looked like he just took out Jacob Ramsey. It's going to be a free kick to Aston Villa. And no card for Antoine Semenyo on this occasion. Hasn't stopped Tyrone Mings and Marco Asensio kind of fighting the case of a booking. But the referee Stuart Atwell having none of it. Just a free kick to Aston Villa. Again, that's the second time from those corners that Bournemouth have given the ball away cheaply. It's those short corners. I mean, I get they want to do the nice combinations, but it just hasn't worked at any level in these early moments. Now Asensio with this free kick. 8 minutes to go with the half. Chance for Aston Villa here from this set piece. Asensio, left-footed, whips it round the back. Up in the air it goes. Still not away. Flicked on, but there's going to be a stoppage here. The foul on Milos Kerkez is going to get Bournemouth out of trouble. A free kick to the home side there. Well, a reminder for you, tomorrow at lunchtime we get our Sunday action underway at St James's Park at 12 noon as we watch Newcastle take on Chelsea. 2 of the top 5 battling tomorrow in that all-or-nothing tie. Looking forward to that one tomorrow at 12. Following that, we will have a game at 4:30 in the afternoon as we watch the champions Liverpool host what seemingly they look like they're going to be the runners-up, Arsenal, but they're not guaranteed second spot. Arsenal, who will start the day second tomorrow, they will head to Anfield at 4:30. That's our double offering for you tomorrow. Smith. Back to Tyler Adams here. He's got space to break forward. Gives it out wide to Dean Howson. Feeds it down the line for Milos Kerkez. It goes for the early cross, but gets far too much whip on that one. And it goes behind for the goal kick. Well, I've got to say, what's quite interesting from Bournemouth's point of view is that they're pushing their defence so far over to the left. Dean Howson's actually kind of playing as a left back, and Milos Kerkez is offering the wide option further left in kind of a wing back role, pushing forward. And then Bournemouth are just switching across and dropping a midfielder in alongside Zabarnyi, where Dean Howson would be playing. So that's very interesting. We've seen that a couple of times down that left-hand side in this first half. Here's Amadou Onana in the centre. Out wide it goes in the left to Digne. Back inside to Onana again. I think Villa need to get something promising here before half-time. They've really not done very much in the first half. Their main opportunities have come from breakaways, from poor Bournemouth giveaways. And they give away one of their own there, Villa. Ball through. Evan Nielsen couldn't take it under control. Yeah, it was a giveaway by Boubacar Kamara in the middle. As they win it back, Bournemouth. Ball from Alex Scott, trying to find it through to Evan Nielsen. It was a nice idea, right idea really. Just the execution a little bit too hard from Alex Scott, and Evan Nielsen couldn't take it under his spell. And finds its way back to the Aston Villa goalkeeper. But as I was saying about the Villa promising attacks so far, they've basically come from Bournemouth mistakes. As there was an offside there against Evan Nielsen, the referee's just going to play on as Villa have the possession. And Cash under pressure from Semenyo, does well to break out of that. Finds Kamara. Nice control from Villa as Asensio slips twice. Somehow Villa keep the ball. Onana has it taken away from him by Tyler Adams. And the through ball now to Evan Nielsen. It's got the crowd up all of a sudden as Evan Nielsen goes down. And Boubacar Kamara is the one that deemed to have committed the foul. And a free kick goes Bournemouth's way. Yeah, see it again. Evan Nielsen spun away and he just crashes in. Boubacar Kamara. Just lay it. No real sight of the ball there, and definite free kick to Bournemouth. Evan Nielsen just trying to do a few stretches before he gets back to his feet there. The Bournemouth centre forward. Was it? Look at handball. Is there a handball there? I mean, I can understand Marco Asensio. I don't think he means to hit the ball with his hand. He does, but I don't think he means to. He kind of slipped into it. That would be very harsh if he was given a second yellow for that. He won't be given that, and it's just going to be a free kick for Bournemouth. Scott over the top. Wasteful. Right into the hands of Emi Martinez. Lack of quality in the final third in this first half from both of these two teams have kind of let me down so far. In this first, that's nicely won down that side by Semenyo with the ball in, well cleaned out by Onana, who was in there, and Konsa under pressure. Villa not out of the woods here yet. Konsa does get it cleanly cleared away, and Zabarnyi in a one-on-one chase with Watkins just evades the pressure, puts it out for the throw into Aston Villa. A bit better from Watkins there, but again, it's neither side really convincing me that they're going to find the back of the net here before half-time. Long throw by Cash, away by his opposite number, Dean Howson. And switch ball there from Semenyo, couldn't quite find Tavernier, and Smith loses out. Asensio hits the post. Looked like a nothing chance, and it whacks off the woodwork. It's opened the game up a little bit more as Cook breaks away. Has to turn back to Howson again. That was a close moment for Marco Asensio, though. The switch ball there. Couldn't quite find Tavernier. Nicely brought down by Digne. Smith's pressure goes unwarranted. Here's the space for Ramsey. Asensio. Now Onana. Over the top. Is there room? There was, but the ball just evading Jacob Ramsey there. And Kepa seeing it out for a goal kick. See this again, Marco Asensio's effort. It was Smith that evaded the challenge of Watkins initially, but he spins on the ball and right into the path of Asensio, who gets it, has the shot, and had Kepa scrambling, and it just comes off the right post. It wasn't the most kind of pacey of efforts, but was a bit of a threat there from Asensio. Had a quiet first half. Villa hitting the woodwork. Last minute of the half. Bournemouth 0, Villa 0. Here at the Vitality Stadium. Long kick by Kepa. Brought down well by Asensio again as Watkins tries to hold it up. Doesn't have any help as Tavernier nicks it away from the midfield there of Villa. A little bit lazy from the Villa midfield there. Semenyo driving into the box. This could be a chance for Bournemouth. Semenyo goes down. Nowhere near enough for a penalty, as that was a possible handball. Kerkez screaming for it. The referee says no, as Bournemouth again seen away by the Villa defence. The crowd incessant. There was a handball there. VAR might have a look at it, Chris Kavanagh. Let's have another quick look. Nah, that's not handball. I mean, it's accidental, but it comes off his upper arm, and Morgan Rogers, it's in a natural position. That's never a penalty. 6 added minutes at the end of the first half then. And there's certainly going to be no penalty as we play on. Yeah. It bounces off the back of Milos Kerkez's foot, but onto the arm of Rogers, but his arm is down by his side and it comes off here, so it's definitely not a handball. Definitely not. A reminder for you at half-time, we will show you that graphic about how 8th could be a European place. I think we'd done a piece on it a few weeks ago in one of those European battling games, and I mean it's gone crazy since then, but we will show you what that all means as that long throw by Bournemouth right into the hands of Emi Martinez. We will have that one ready for you at half-time. So don't worry about that. Right. We still have a good bit of this first half to go, though. 4.5 minutes until we're in at half-time. And here comes Asensio. Out wide it goes to Digne. Whips a ball in, and the header! Good save, and the follow-up is another one into the hands of Kepa. That was much better from Aston Villa. It's the first real time we've actually seen Luca Digne wide on that left side. And the whip ball is beautiful with a cross. And it's Boubacar Kamara at the back post. Heads it right down. Great save by Kepa off the line. And then the rebound is a header. Trying to see who heads it at the back post again. So Kamara's header comes off Kepa. Then the rebound. Yeah, it's a great save with his left foot there, Kepa. And it bounces out, and it's Cash that heads it. And it's a good save with his two arms there, Kepa, in the end. That's a great double save by the Bournemouth keeper. And that keeps them level in this game. That's massive. Great delivery by Luca Digne. And Kamara, the big chance. Big save by Kepa. And then the follow-up, also saved from Cash's header. Those are two massive moments for Villa just before half-time, though. And a half, probably Bournemouth would say they've been the better. Lovely ball over the top by Howson, and Kirkes with a cut back, but no one in the box. Evan Nielsen broke to the 6-yard box, and the cutback in the 18-yard box. There was no one there as Tyler Adams was fouled. And Bournemouth want to get on with it. The referee allowing that to be the case. Here's Semenyo. It's got a bit antsy towards the end of this first half. Cook to Smith now. Right wide to Tavernier. Dribbling his way around his man. Marcus Tavernier. Still got white shirts around him. He has to turn back to Smith. And now to Zabarnyi. Into Tyler Adams. Howson. Inside it comes to Scott. Bournemouth settling with their possession again. Oh, it's wasteful there from Dean Howson. A little bit loose across. And Ramsey breaking away. Brought down by Adam Smith. And that's going to be a certain yellow card for the Bournemouth right back and captain. And my goodness, Jacob Ramsey's gone absolute nuts here. He's not happy whatsoever with that challenge. He is fuming. Is the Villa man. And I think the Villa captain's got himself a booking as well there, Emi Martinez, for his reaction to that situation. Let's just see it again. It's a poor ball by Dean Howson. Given away. Ramsey on the breakaway. It's Smith and cover. And Smith just... yeah, he's late in the challenge. He's definitely late. He gets none of the ball. It's just a cynical challenge. But it's a yellow card and no more. I mean, I don't understand why Villa have got so upended about this. It's a yellow card and no more. It's just a poor late challenge. And Emi Martinez, from what I've heard, has got himself a yellow card. He has, and I mean, the Villa captain, I mean, I don't know why he's getting involved. I mean, he's in his own goal about halfway up the field. What's he getting involved for? It's a yellow card and no more. Relax. Jacob Ramsey also got himself a yellow card. I'm guessing that's for dissent by Ramsey. So 3 yellow cards in that whole scenario. And Asensio to take this free kick. Last minute of the first half. Asensio's delivery. Up in the air by Mings. And up in the air again by Semenyo on the second ball. And he tries to clear it away. He keeps it in play though. Gets the better of Cash there. Semenyo doing well with his close control. And well beaten by Cash that time. And the ball in by Watkins. And it's flicked on and in by Ollie Watkins. And Aston Villa break the deadlock just on the nick of half-time. All the drama of the last few minutes. And it's Aston Villa that take the lead before the break. And it's Ollie Watkins with his 16th Premier League goal of the season. Just tapping in a cross goal from that lovely cross from the right-hand side. A poacher's finish for Ollie Watkins, celebrating with the away fans. He's probably not been the favourite centre-forward with competition for places in that higher area for Villa this season in the most recent weeks with Marcus Rashford pushing him. But no Rashford today. Watkins needed, and Watkins steps up. Bournemouth 0, Aston Villa 1. And you probably feel with the way they've reacted towards the end of this half, Villa, it was coming. 46th or 45 plus 6th minute of the end of the first half. And Ollie Watkins with a beautiful finish. Just guides it across goal. Into the far corner. Lovely. Bournemouth 0, Villa 1. And we're on the verge of half-time, although there's a VAR check for a possible offside, I'm hearing. And the goal is given. So that was a quick little nerve jangler there. And we see it again. The official call. And he looks miles onside there. He's miles onside. I mean, why was there even a check for that? He could have been 2 yards further forward and he still would have been onside. 16 goals this season for Ollie Watkins. And he's now the leading Villa scorer in Premier League history. His 75th for the club. One more than the previous record holder, Gabby Ogbonlahor, who had 74. And we're still playing here into the 8th minute of added time in the first half. Here's Ramsey. They might want to add a second here. Ramsey's ball up in the air by Smith and headed away by Scott. And there is the half-time whistle. A very dramatic first half that ends with drama. And Ollie Watkins giving Aston Villa the lead just before the break with his little flick on in the box. Finding the way past Kepa, who had been called into some big saves towards the end of that first half. It was Villa that ended the half the better. Bournemouth that were probably better in the 45 minutes building up to that added time. But it is Aston Villa who lead at the break. It's Bournemouth 0, Villa 1 at the half time. We'll be back with analysis and a look at how the European race could turn out when we come back. Welcome back to Premier League Live, half-time at the Vitality Stadium. It is Bournemouth 0, Aston Villa 1 at the break. Ollie Watkins scoring that goal just on the brink of half-time to give Villa a half-time lead. In that one, right, what we've to assess at half-time is the scores from earlier today, and also how 8th can be a European place, because we were talking about that in the first half, and it was a bit confusing. And Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton and Fulham all still have a realistic chance of getting 8th place and possibly getting a European place. But they'll not know that until the final 2 weeks of the season, depending on what way things turn out. So what I will do is I will put this in here, get it ready to go, and I will overlay my face cam with the graphic. But I'll do that in a moment, because we will analyse the the earlier results of the day. First, this is the way the game week has gone so far. 4 3-o'clockers this afternoon. It was all goals at Craven Cottage. Earlier this afternoon, Raul Jimenez gave Fulham a 17th minute lead against Everton and David Moyes' side, but Vitaly Mykolenko found the equaliser just before half-time, and then it was 2 goals for the visitors in the second half. Michael Keane and Beto both on the score sheet in the final 20 minutes to seal a big 3 points for Everton. Their 9th win of the season, on 42 points now, up to 13th. Fulham dropping away from those in the top 8 race. That was a big defeat for them today in that race for 8th place for Marco Silva's side, who led that game but let it get away from them. There was less goals in the other games. There was just the 1 goal at Portman Road, as already relegated Ipswich hosted Brentford. Kevin Shada with the only goal of the afternoon there, and Brentford pushing themselves up to 8th in that battle, so they would be in pole position for a extra European place if things go their way with that win. It was a draw between Southampton and Man City. Southampton already relegated, but they wanted to avoid that horrible points tally that would equal them with a Premier League record of 11 points, but they got the draw and got the point they needed. 12 points for Southampton, but a big droppage of 2 points for Manchester City, who would have had this one in the calendar as a possible nailed-on win, but it was a draw. They're 8th of the season for City, only 65 points now in the table, 2 behind Arsenal, but Arsenal still to play, and also the teams below them will have a chance to leapfrog them this weekend for Manchester City. And that other 3-o'clocker between Wolves and Brighton, it was another away win this time, and Wolves failing to get any goals on the score sheet. Danny Welbeck with a penalty in the first half gave Brighton the lead before Brian Gruda got the second in the later stages of the second half to make it 2-0 to Brighton, which pushed them up to 9th in the table, just behind Brentford on goal difference. And those are the 2 sides that Bournemouth are competing with for that 8th place finish that could be a European spot by the end of this season. Right, quickly show you the table and how that looks then. This is live at the moment with Bournemouth losing. They would be on 53 points. Brighton and Brentford would be on 55 in 8th and 9th, so they would have a real battle. But look at Brentford's goal difference, 7 better off than Brighton's after both sides winning today. And Villa, not out of reach of those 2 clubs. That is not live, apologies. I thought it was live. It is not, because Aston Villa, as it stands, would be on 63 points. There's the updated table for you. Villa on 63 points, and Forest would drop down to 7th on 61. So not without reach on the realms of possibility. However, they would need a real bit of luck, Brentford or Brighton, to finish in 7th with any of their games to go. They can only get to 61 points, which is what the tally is for Nottingham Forest at the moment. So a win for Villa would almost seal off the top 7 really this evening, all but seal it off before Nottingham Forest host Leicester tomorrow. That's the table as it stands. Let's quickly bring you up to date with how 8th can be a European finish. So let's bring you through this graphic that the Premier League have released, this article that the Premier League have released. Will basically bring us right up to date with how everything can be a European place, as I just increase it a little bit more. There we are. So let's have a quick dookie through this then. So if we go further down, and you can't really read that, can you? You can't really read it. Fantastic. Uh, 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 I'll show you the table and all of that, but where is it? Further down. High 8th can qualify is on the list here. There we go. Further down. So high 8th could qualify. Let's read it out to you then. I read it out in the first half, but let's just reiterate. High 8th could qualify for Europe. You might have to squint a little bit to have a look at it. But high 8th could qualify. An 8th place finish in the Premier League could be awarded with entry into Europe next season. If Man City win the FA Cup, whilst also qualifying for Europe through their league position, which is now a nailed-on possibility if they win the FA Cup as well, and Newcastle also qualify through their league position after winning the EFL Cup, the 2 European places given to the domestic trophy winners will be passed down the league table. Therefore, the prospect of the 8th place team qualifying for Europe means Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton and Fulham all have European football as an incentive as they head into their remaining Premier League games. So as things stand, of course all can still get 7th, but that's unrealistic heading into those final games. But 8th could be European place if Newcastle and Man City both get European football through their league position and both win the domestic cups. That's how 8th will be European place. 8th can't be a European place if Man City don't win the FA Cup. If they don't win the FA Cup, City, then that, of course, European place won't be dropped down because it would go to Crystal Palace, who wouldn't be in line for a European place based on their league position. That's the way it would work out. Of course, the FA Cup, as I say, has an impact. The 2 FA Cup finalists, Man City and Palace, could have a bearing on the race for Europe. City can qualify for the Champions League via their league position. If they achieve that and win the FA Cup, their reward for the latter, a Europa League place, will be passed down to the next highest team in the league who have not qualified for the Champions League or Europa League. So a Europa League place would drop to 6th and 7th if City win the FA Cup. If Crystal Palace win the FA Cup, they will take the Europa League place awarded to the winning side at Wembley, of course. So that would be a pretty simple way of looking at it. But it is not easy, really, at this moment in time. But if both cup winners, Newcastle and Man City, it would be, if they both win their domestic cups and finish in a European place in the league position, then those 2 places will drop down further, and 7th and 8th, or 8th would get a European place because 6th would already qualify for Europa League place. 7th would then get a Europa League place, which would mean 8th would get a Conference League place if City win the FA Cup and finish in the top 5, as well as Newcastle. So a lot can still happen. It's not guaranteed or nailed on in any stretch of the imagination that could happen, but there is still a possibility, which means the teams that are battling for 8th still have something to fight for, still have something to tussle for in the remaining weeks, and they have an incentive to finish 8th now. Between Brighton, Brentford and Bournemouth, all the bees, quite literally, all trying to finish in 8th, and only one of them can. And there's no guarantees, even if they do finish 8th, that would be a European place. Well, of course, they would know on the final day whether that would be, because the FA Cup final is before the end of the season. So they would know come match day 38 at the final whistle whether they're in Europe next season or not, that 8th place team. Very simple, isn't it? Not complicated whatsoever. Right, second half between Bournemouth and Aston Villa, which is much simpler because Aston Villa are leading by a goal to nil through Ollie Watkins at the break. The second half is on the way in just a moment. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half time at the Vitality. It's Bournemouth 0, Villa 1. Still to come this Premier League weekend, we have Newcastle against Chelsea tomorrow at 12 for you. That is two sides in the top 5 starting the weekend, but will one of them be outside of the top 5 come the weekend's finish? That could be a possibility. We'll see how they fare tomorrow when they meet at 12 noon at St James's Park. Right. After that then, Liverpool would face Arsenal at 4:30 tomorrow afternoon as well. Double header of action for you tomorrow. Second half, and the Vitality is next. Right, welcome back to Premier League Live this Saturday evening. We're all but ready for the second half as the players get ready to come out, but it looks like Alex Scott is not going to be coming out here for Bournemouth. It looks like he is going to be replaced by Justin Kluivert, is what I can gather from the sidelines there, and Kluivert is ready to enter the fray. So, and Kluivert coming on. Alex Scott went down twice in that first half, if you remember. Of course, went down and had to receive treatment twice, so maybe assessed at half-time and told he couldn't return to play at half-time in the second half. So he's coming off, and the man in his wake coming on in his place is going to be Justin Kluivert, who will add a lot of quality to the attack of Bournemouth. No offence to Alex Scott, but Justin Kluivert's got that real European class of quality, and coming on in that 10 role will certainly benefit him, as Villa just coming out of the tunnel along with the referees, so still a bit away from the second half getting underway. Good enough time to tell you, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications. We're hot-footing it towards 27,000 subscribers, and that would be great if you could greatly appreciate it if you could help us get to there. If you haven't done so already, do hit the like button, subscribe and turn on post notifications, because this is going to be a rambunctious end to the season, and you don't want to miss it here on LFS over the next 3 weeks or so. Right, no changes for Villa at the break as expected, but just that one change at half-time for Bournemouth. And in the end, Alex Scott being replaced by Justin Kluivert in the 10. And Asensio gets us back underway then. Villa leading by a goal to nil. Ollie Watkins' goal in the 45 plus 6th minute. The 51st minute of the second half. Or the first half, sorry. Gave him the lead. And gave Villa the lead. Considering they were probably second best for a lot of that first half. But they had a late flurry at the end of the half. And offered some threat. Here's Lucadinha with the first opportunity of the second half. Spinning was Ramsey. Lays it off to Camara. This could be a great chance. Camara! Angles it just wide. Not too far away from Boubacar Camara there. It was Lucadinha again down that left side. Cuts it back to the edge. It's Ramsey. Kind of battles for it. Spins away. And it falls to Boubacar Camara at the edge of the box, who strikes it low and hard across goal. And it just whiskers wide of that right post for a goal kick. Cook caught on the ball there. At the help of his goalkeeper, though, to keep it in possession for Bournemouth. It's Kluivert with his first effort of the game there. Over the top. It's kept in play, though. Cash's clearance has gone out of play for a Bournemouth throw on that occasion. Get a bit of refreshment at half-time. Gotta say, it's very warm in here. Very warm. Nice ball out to the left channel here for Bournemouth. Here's Antoine Semenyo. Goes for the cross. Bobbles to Kluivert. Justin Kluivert dribbling around men. Can't get his shot off. Brought down by the keeper. It's going to be a goal kick to Villa. For a split second, it looked like the referee's pointing for a penalty, but it's just a goal kick. See this again. Great from Semenyo. Not great from Villa defensively there with Konsa. Gets a bit loose. The ball falls to Kluivert. He dribbles round his man, gets towards goal, and the ball was well gone, and he left his foot there. Martinez makes no contact, and therefore never a penalty. Just a goal kick. Kluivert looking threatening already, though. Only on the field 2.5 minutes or so. Kerkez winning the throw in there off Rodgers. You feel like Justin Kluivert's the type of player that Bournemouth need to try and change this game, give them that extra little bit of creativity in and around the box, where they've struggled so far. They've been good with their approach play and their build-up, but it's in and around the box where they've struggled in that first half and finding clear-cut opportunities against the Villa defence. You think Kluivert might just add that little extra bit of creativity, an extra little bit of quality, to give Bournemouth that cutting edge further forward. Long ball towards Evan Nielsen. Well won by Mings, and Evan Nielsen was in the vicinity, and he might have just caught Tyrone Mings there. Free kick to Aston Villa. Well, according to Opta's predictions coming into this weekend, Villa have a 56.5% chance of finishing 7th, or a likelihood of finishing 7th, and Bournemouth have a 48.4% certain chance of finishing 8th in the table. So Bournemouth are most likely, if there is a European place on the cards for 8th, Bournemouth, according to Opta, are the most likely to get that place coming into the weekend, and Villa the most likely to finish 7th in the table. That's their most likely finishing place for Aston Villa, considering the situation they find themselves in coming into this weekend. So here is Kluivert, causing issues on the ball again for the Villa defence. Out wide it goes to Kerkez, who whips the ball in. It's too high, so it will bounce out to Smith on the far right side, the opposite fullback. Tavernier, nice 1-2 combinations. Adams couldn't squeeze it towards the box. Now Villa want a breakaway. Here's Watkins guiding that breakaway. Gives it out wide to Ramsey. He just drops himself on the ball and loses it to Tyler Adams. A little bit cheaply there. As here comes Tavernier down the right side. Rolls it across to the edge of the box. Kluivert couldn't quite reach it, and Villa scramble it away. A little bit more incentive though from Bournemouth. Beautiful chest down there from Evan Nielsen. And Semenyo round the corner, couldn't return it to his number 9. And it's scrambled away again by Villa. And nicely headed back to the keeper by Zabarnyi there. Better from Bournemouth. Coming into this weekend, Villa have only a 15.5% chance, according to Opta, to finish in the top 5. A win here this evening would get them with a real opportunity of getting right into that mix. They would be level on points with 4th and 5th if they win tonight, Villa, of course. Behind them on goal difference, so they wouldn't be out of the question with a win tonight. A defeat would surely put them out of the fighting. With 2 games to go, will make it very unlikely for Villa to get a top 5 finish. Here's Amadou Onana. Under pressure again from Lewis Cook this time. Onana doing well to hold on to the ball, but needs to get rid of it. He was caught by Lewis Cook there. And it's going to be a free kick. Yeah, he's just late there, Lewis Cook. Frustration of not getting the ball and just caught Onana. Yeah, it's good. It's just a late challenge by the veteran midfielder. Well, Bournemouth have won 7 of their 13 Premier League games this season against teams starting the day above them in the table, only losing 3 of those games. Of course, this is the scenario here this afternoon. It gives them the highest win rate of any side to play more than one such game this term. 54% win rate against sides above them in the table, Bournemouth. Incredible. Incredible. They relish the underdog mentality, really, and the underdog expectation to Bournemouth. As Emi Martinez will take this free kick for Villa. 7 minutes gone in the second half. Bournemouth 0, Villa 1. Here's Boubacar Kamara. He had the first chance of the half, but his through ball nicely retrieved at the back there by Adams. Sent back to the goalkeeper. He feeds it out wide again. Here's Adams again. Cook. Smith. Inside to Zabarnyi. It's a nice quick pass in there from Bournemouth to break the Villa press as the switch ball. Cash was there. Kirkez went over alongside Rodgers, and he's been given the foul here. Morgan Rodgers. I think that was just accidental for Milos Kirkez. And apparently he did catch Morgan Rodgers, and he might have come off a little bit of the worst there, Milos Kirkez. Both not in a good way. See this switch ball again. Cash with a header. It's an awkward one. And as Kirkez tries to dribble back, there's just nothing really he can do there. He just kind of loses his balance, and Rodgers kind of runs into him, in my opinion. I think that's a foul. A long kick from the back there from Konsa, and guided back by Dean Howson to his goalkeeper, Kepa. Howson, over the top it goes, off the back of Cash. Wanted the foul and got the foul, Matty Cash, but to the bemusement of Antoine Semenyo. See it again. Is there a push? I mean, a little push, but I'd say that's a little bit harsh. Again on Antoine Semenyo on that occasion. Again, Villa can't do anything with a free kick though. Tavernier over the top looking for Evan Nielsen. Battling with Mings. Won the header, Evan Nielsen, and the fizz ball across is beautiful. Out to Antoine Semenyo. Kirkez on the underlap. Lost his balance, but he won the corner, did Milos Kirkez. Bournemouth corner on this left side now. It's a great fizz switch ball from the right hand side from Bournemouth. Just opened the space and allowed the attack to really flow. They've got another corner. Their two previous corners were short corners, and they ended up in Aston Villa counter-attacks. Really want to whip the ball in here. There's not much height there for Bournemouth. Howson probably the most threat. Smith's delivery whipped in, headed away at the near post by Onana, and the bouncing ball goes behind for another Bournemouth corner. I'm not a massive fan of a short corner in any way when it comes to these set pieces. I say just get it in the box, you never know what can happen. Another delivery by Smith. Down at the near post, not cleared away, but Emi Martinez spotted the little loose ball and came and gathered, and it was Onana again at the front post that dealt with it. Initially, you see it again, whipped in, Onana heads it down, it bounces around, and then falls into the hands of Emi Martinez, the Villa goalkeeper. Konsa under pressure, and again fouled, and that one was a foul by Justin Kluivert. Certainly want to press high and push high, Bournemouth. Once again, just getting the wrong side of it at the moment, giving away some cheap fouls. It's allowing Villa to alleviate that pressure. Emi Martinez is going to try and get his team up the field here. He's going to take this free kick and push his side up. He kicks it long. The Argentinian. Up and won by Howson again. Battling in the midfield is Kamara. And Onana gets it to Lucadinha. He chips it over the top, but simply guided back to his goalkeeper by Ilya Zabarnyi. Again, Bournemouth having a lot of the ball to start the half. 64% of the ball in the first half, or in the second half so far. But Villa the only effort so far and on goal in these first 12 minutes of the second half. Bournemouth in the ascendancy, you would say. Kluivert tried the out ball to Kirkez. Miscommunication there. Goes out for a throw to Aston Villa. Just can't get their rhythm a little bit, Bournemouth. They haven't had a shot since the 27th minute of this game. And Villa had a shot 46th minute, right at the start of the second half, from Boubacar Kamara. 27 minutes, 30 in-game minutes since Bournemouth's last shot in the game. Kluivert is adding a little bit more threat, but not tangible in terms of the shots at the moment. Not able to get them cleanly in and around the Villa box, which is probably a tough job to do at the best of times. Howson. Adams. Back to Dean Howson. There's space and opportunity. Bournemouth just need to get it all clicking together and all linking up nicely. Semenyo. Wide it goes. Howson rolls in behind for Milos Kerkez, who was on the run, trying to win the corner. And Boubacar Kamara blocking that cross from Milos Kerkez. Will be a Bournemouth corner. A little bit more threat down that left-hand side for Bournemouth. It's where they've looked the most threatening all afternoon. Down that left side. Likes of Kerkez and Semenyo. And Howson. Let's see what they can deliver from this corner. They're 5th of the game. Smith's deeper delivery, but it's right into the hands of Emi Martinez. Good delivery, but just too close to the goalkeeper in the end. Stenia with a good first touch. Plays it right on to Ramsey. Now Onana. Kamara. Trying to link it up with Ollie Watkins, who was tussled and wrestled to the ground by Kerkez, but no foul, said the referee. Fair challenge between Watkins and Kerkez. And Bournemouth actually got a free kick in the end there. Yeah, just two of them tussling. It's a good battle. It's no foul, really. Maybe actually Kerkez was fouled by Watkins there. Semenyo trying to shield off Matty Cash. In the end, just puts the ball straight out of play. It's losing their rhythm a little bit, Bournemouth. I do think, though, if it all clicks and it all kind of links up for them, they will have a threat. They will try and get towards the goal. They do have that quality to try and get an equaliser here, so it's not as simple as Bournemouth not working so they can't really find a way through. They do have instant threat and can pose a problem to Villa. Oh, they're not going to do it by doing that, as Smith gives the ball away so cheaply. And they're going to get a free kick as well, Villa, for a foul on Luca Digne. The home crowd not happy, but I mean, the referee can only give what he sees, and at the minute, Bournemouth a little bit sloppy on the ball. Having more of the possession, but just a few unforced errors, putting them under unnecessary pressure at the moment. As we hit the hour mark inside the Vitality Stadium, Bournemouth 0, Villa 1. Ollie Watkins the scorer. Marco Asensio to deliver this free kick for Aston Villa on the left-hand side. Left-footed, whipped towards the box. Flicked on by Cash, but cleared away by Semenyo. And Kluivert comes crashing in, but he's actually going to get the foul off Onana that time. And it's going to be a free kick to Bournemouth. Not a stoppages. Very stop-start this second half. Not much flow or rhythm to the game. And that benefiting Aston Villa more than Bournemouth, who are trying to chase this game and chase an equaliser. So again, Evan Nielsen that time was bundled to the ground by Tyrone Mings. Another Bournemouth free kick taken quickly. Nice ball by Howson, finding Semenyo, who tried to find it across, but well blocked by Amadou Onana. He's been crucial in those clearances and defensive moments for Aston Villa. As Antoine Semenyo might angle a long throw here. Looks like that's eyeing up that way. I've seen quite a few of them over the last 2 or 3 nights. The long throw-ins. He's Antoine Semenyo to add his name to the list of players that take the long throw. In it comes. But that time, again, Emi Martinez could easily catch it. Every time you think Bournemouth are going to have a threat, it just comes crumbling down. That's a lovely little reverse ball by Ollie Watkins there into Asensio's path. Here comes Amadou Onana now. Dribbling his way up the field. Onana holding on to his balance and laying the ball out wide to Digne. He chips it forward looking for Rodgers, and his opposite number there, Ilya Zabarnyi, getting the defensive clearance. Will be a throw in to Aston Villa down that side. So Digne might angle a long throw here for Aston Villa. He will, the Frenchman. Let's see then. He's taking his time. Look at Digne. Setting the home crowd. Digne's long throw into the box. Towards Mings. Cleared away by Zabarnyi. Back out wide as Digne. Tried to get it, but fouling Justin Kluivert, who did get there first. Free kick to Bournemouth. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Ayatope, is that Ayatope? It says 1-1. The coaches are friends. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know that if that's allowed. Sounds a little bit like match fixing to me. But I wouldn't disagree with the scoreline. But at the minute, Bournemouth just not having that cutting edge in the final third. They're really struggling to sustain the attacks and to get really put Villa under any sort of pressure. They're toying about in their own box here, Villa. They're that comfortable. Here's Mings, very far wide, and I mean in that sort of area, going to struggle to keep it in play, and Bournemouth get the throw. As Aston Villa are going to ready a change here, their club captain, John McGinn, is getting ready on the sidelines, so he's getting some tactical information from Austin McPhee, the assistant coach of Aston Villa. And Bournemouth are going to ready a change of their own at the moment. It's going to see David Brooks getting himself ready for Andone Iraiola's side. So both sides looking to the bench to try and add something to the game for their respective teams at the minute, with 25 minutes or so to go. Well, at the moment, Bournemouth needs some extra attacking talent, extra attacking quality, and they've just not shown it enough today. I mean, there's no shortage of quality in their front players, but just not been able to show it off today. Here's Ollie Watkins, who has been showing off. He's trying to show off again against Ilya Zabarnyi here. Still got the ball. And he was shoved to the ground, but no foul, said the referee. Fair challenge. The ball switched out to the right here. Brought down by Cash. Nice touch inside. Laid it off to Boubacar Kamara. Squared across to Onana. Back to Kamara, who guided it well away from Kluivert. And now Cash, left-footed delivery, away by Howson. Tavernier's back there helping. Defence, and Cash brought down, but no foul again, says the referee, as Tavernier's ball right down the touchline. And here's Kluivert on the breakaway for Bournemouth. Not got many options with him. Still got the ball here, Kluivert, as he spins away from Kamara. Out wide it goes to Tavernier. Marcus Tavernier. Cross well blocked by Boubacar Kamara. Just a throw in to Bournemouth. Seems like, anyway. As we're probably going to see these substitutions now. Doesn't look like Evan Ilson's the happiest. Just on his haunches there. Maybe struggling a little bit, the Bournemouth centre forward. He's not been at his tippy-top best today, the Bournemouth centre forward, the Brazilian. And they actually got a corner out of this, Bournemouth. They're 6th of the game. Villa without a corner all afternoon. So the ball comes right to the back post. Headed away at the back post there by Rodgers. Evan Nielsen keeps it alive with Smith down the touchline. But again, not able to retrieve possession as Villa clear it away. And out for... It's kept in, sorry, by Kierkees. Flicked over the top. Nice work in the midfield there as Evan Nielsen's very deep. And rolled past Asensio, but fouled by Marco Asensio. Free kick to Bournemouth. There's going to be a double substitution here then. For Villa, it looks like there's 2 players getting ready to come on. I don't know if they're going to make those changes just yet. They're probably going to wait on this free kick being taken by Bournemouth before they make the changes. Both sides are going to just wait an extra minute or so. And this free kick being taken. As Cook and Tavernier were over. Cook's delivery. Cleared away. Semenyo has it on the edge. Adams back wide. Tavernier trying to keep it alive down that side. It goes out off a Villa head of Lucadinha for another Bournemouth throw. Here's Lewis Cook. Adams. Into Semenyo. Bournemouth on the press, trying to get that equaliser. Whip ball into the box. Flecked on. And it's going to be offside against Evan Nielsen. It's not really had much to be happy about today, Evan Nielsen. As Villa are going to make their double substitution here. At this juncture, Marco Asensio is coming off. And Tyrone Mings is also going to be making way here for Villa. So a double substitution at the moment. Asensio and Mings off. And McGinn and Pau Torres coming on. So McGinn and Torres on, Mings and Asensio off for Unai Emery's side. Attack and help and defensive help as well, as the Bournemouth captain was also replaced there, Adam Smith, and he was replaced by David Brooks. So I guess Lewis Cook will drop into right back where Smith was playing, and Adams will pivot with Kluivert and Brooks in the midfield. Or maybe Tavernier will drop. We'll have to wait and see. But certainly a change in the Bournemouth midfield, and probably adding an extra attacking player, because they probably have to. 20 minutes to go. They're 1-0 down. Have had 2 shots all afternoon, Bournemouth, and haven't had an effort since the 27th minute of the game. As Villa whip a ball in here, but right into the hands of Kepa, who felt he was stopped that there as Kerkez's ball a little overhit, but Tavernier keeps it in play. On the move here, Bournemouth. Tavernier down the line to Kluivert. Comes a little bit wide. Kluivert back to Tavernier again. Excuse me. That's Adams. Finding Brooks through the lines. Trying to link it up. Evan Nielsen and Semenyo, but they kind of muddled and lose the ball. But once more, Villa can't get very far forward with it, as Bournemouth will come right back at them again. Tyler Adams. Round the corner to Huyson. Goes down the line to Kluivert. Chops inside, Justin Kluivert. Rolls it in behind. Tavernier was the target, but a little bit overhit that time from Kluivert towards his teammate. That was better from Bournemouth. At least a good link up between the 2 players there, and just unfortunately the pace of the ball was just too much. No zoom says need Rogers shot on target and Asensio shot on target. Can't see it hitting though. Well, not anymore. Marco Asensio has just been substituted, so sorry to tell you, I don't think that will be coming in anymore. Apologies to be the bearer of the bad news, but that's the information I can give you of certainty. He came close to having a shot on target, Marco Asensio, hitting the post in the first half. Oh, super sub. Well, fair enough. Well, John McGinn, I wouldn't bet against him not having a shot on target. He can certainly be a threat for Villa. Here's Kluivert's down the line. Couldn't quite find it. The wide man there in Semenyo. And stolen away by Amadou Onana. Ramsey now goes back to Ezri Konsa. Ramsey forced it right at Tavernier, who was wasteful on the ball and gave it away cheaply. And he's battling for it back off Morgan Rogers. And doesn't win it back. That was a good chance for Bournemouth to get back on the ball, and then they just kind of stopped in his tracks there. Did Marcus Tavernier. They've won it back now. Adams getting it out wide to Kirkes, who's fairly challenged, and great battle back there by Watkins, but the through ball not finding Rogers. Howson intercepting, finding Adams now. It's getting a bit more tentative. Bournemouth need to get themselves up the field and have a chance. Start applying pressure to this Villa defence, who haven't really been tested all afternoon whatsoever. And that's a little bit of a shock, really, for the form that Bournemouth have been in, especially at home. And the way kind of Villa have been flapping a little bit recently. So Barney did well there, winning the ball off Watkins. Again, no foul, as Watkins went to ground. Here's Brooks. Watkins is still down, but referee doesn't have to stop the game unless it's a serious issue. And he's not stopping the game at the moment, Stuart Atwell. Bournemouth are still continuing to play. Here's Brooks. Out wide to Kirkes. Here's Kluivert. Adams. Now Brooks. Just took a little bit of zip out of the game. Into Semenyo, who was challenged but held onto the ball. Finds Howson. Arrows it wide. It get too narrow to Tavernier, but Howson will retrieve. And Watkins eventually gets back to his feet. He's okay to continue. Tavernier finding Kluivert. Tavernier's cross low. Cleared away by Konsa. Howson now. Kirkes. Kirkes battling in behind. Wins his challenge. Kirkes' ball. Cleared away in the box by Boubacar Kamara. Another Bournemouth corner. A little bit better from Bournemouth there. Solly Watkins chatting with the referee about that situation. And I mean, I can see where Ollie Watkins is coming from. It just looks like Ilya Zabarny just pushes him over for no reason other than to try and win the ball. And you could argue it is a foul. And Tyler Adams is coming off, being replaced by Marcus Senesi. So an extra bit of height in the box, maybe. Bournemouth trying to eye up here from this corner. Will be Kluivert to deliver. Right-footed out swinger around the back post, and there's going to be a foul against the Villa goalkeeper, Emi Martinez here. That's going to get a free kick for the visitors. And whether he's overacting or not, he's kind of acting like he's in his 60s there, Emi Martinez, with the way he... I mean, look, he flies right up. What's that all about? I mean, that's never a foul. I am completely and utterly never convinced. That is horrendous from the referee, because the Villa player pushes Marcus Senesi into Emi Martinez. How can that be a foul? That's mental. It's one of the things that bugs me the most. If a goalkeeper gets tapped or touched, it's an instant foul. Oh, you can't touch a goalkeeper. It so annoys me. Emi Martinez would not go down in any other situation, but he knows that if he goes down, he's more than likely going to get a free kick from the referee. And the referee fell hook, line and sinker for it. Here comes Tavernier. Out wide to Kirkes. Bournemouth still pushing for that equalising goal. And they're trying to go for the combination there. The 1-2 between Tavernier and Kirkes, but not even Milos Kirkes is that quick. Goal kick. I gotta say, it's the one part of the game that annoys me so much. I'm not one for kind of sympathising with goalkeepers. Your big physical presences, you don't go down with the littlest of touches. I get it. You know, if the referee's going to give it, why not do it? You'd be silly of your goalkeeper if you didn't do it. But from the officials, you have to realise that, I mean, there was barely a touch on Emi Martinez, and he threw himself to the ground. It's never a foul. Not just him, there's goalkeepers all around that do it. As Ramsey was slightly pulled back there by Zabarnyi, who gets himself a yellow card for that poor challenge. You see it again, just a little drag back on the left arm of the man there. In Jacob Ramsey. And Zabarnyi gets himself a booking. Joins a number of players in the book this afternoon. The sixth player to be booked today. 3 for each side. Now, Villa with a free kick in a promising area. With 12 minutes to go, they lead by a goal to nil. This free kick about 35 yards out. Ball whipped into the box, but out the other end. Goal kick. Tavernier. Back to Kirkes, who thumps it long. Nicely won by Boubacar Kamara. He helps defensively there for Villa. And goes all the way back to the goalkeeper. Remember, as it stands, Aston Villa will be on 63 points. That will be enough to take them above Forest, up to 6th, and level on points with Newcastle and Chelsea in the table. Now, Villa couldn't. They won't be in the top 5 no matter what happens this weekend, because the goal difference is not good enough to get them anywhere near the top 5 teams. But they would certainly be applying pressure on those Champions League chasing teams, especially with 4th playing 5th tomorrow. It means it's a real tussle in that top 5 race, and this is a must-win game for Villa. But it's a must-win game for Bournemouth if 8th is going to be European spot. If they want to challenge for 8th as well, Bournemouth. So it's all on the line for both teams, and a draw doesn't really help either side, to be honest. Long throw by Digne into the box. Flick away by Howson. Brooks gathering it on the edge of the box away from Jacob Ramsey. And Ramsey committing the foul there on David Brooks. That's going to get Jacob Ramsey a second yellow card. I was about to say that he was already shown a yellow, and he's got himself a red card here. A second yellow card for Jacob Ramsey, who looks stunned. As soon as I saw what was happening, I knew it was going to be a second yellow. And Jacob Ramsey gets himself a red. And Villa down to 10 with 10 to play. Could that be a little twist in the tail? See it again, it's Brooks dragging away. And he kind of grabs his left arm, drags him back a little bit, Jacob Ramsey. It is exactly the same situation that Elia Zabarnyi was given a yellow card for just moments ago on Jacob Ramsey. So it's definite yellow. And he's already on a yellow, so that equals a red. Villa down to 10. Oh, Semenyo! Just wide. Well, that will incentivise Bournemouth, if they needed any incentivising, to the end of this game. The extra man advantage. They couldn't do it away at Crystal Palace when the Palace were down to 10. And they were a whisker away there with Antoine Semenyo of getting a leveller. They've got the extra man, and now they need to make it count. They were a man down in their previous Premier League home game when Evan Nielsen was shown red and conceded a late equaliser. Can the tables have completely turned this occasion, where they have the extra man and are trying to look for that late equaliser, Bournemouth? Villa have to have some defensive display in these last 10 minutes if they're going to see out this 3 points. Tavernier. Howson. To Brooks. Chips it into the box. The flick on by Evan Nielsen. Forces a parry from Emi Martinez. Out for the corner. That was lovely from David Brooks. Nice flick ball into the box. Chips it towards Evan Nielsen. Makes a beautiful run. And he just kind of pops up with a header. directs it towards goal, and Emi Martinez has to make the save. Corner Bournemouth, right side. They're 8th of the game. Left footed, headed away at the near post. Semenyo brings it down. Antoine Semenyo through the lines. It's Kluivert, and now comes Brooks. It's a tight space. Kluivert's chip ball across. Body's in the way. It falls to Kirkes, whose shot was blocked. Calls a handball, not going to be given, but it will be a throw-in or a corner to Bournemouth. But there's no penalty on field. Kirkes and Cash are both down. The Bournemouth players incessant. It's a penalty. It's clip over, headed away by Pau Torres. The shot from Kirkes blocked Cash, and was it Rogers that committed the foul on Kirkes? Is it a foul? Sliding to block the ball. Nah, I don't think that's a penalty. He kind of just catches him as he jumps over him, Milos Kirkes. That's not a penalty in my opinion. I don't think so. And Chris Kavanagh agrees. There's going to be a yellow card for Dean Howson as well, for dissent as well, for arguing the case a little bit too extremely. Corner for Bournemouth. They're not going to get it. It's going to be a little pushing and shoving. And it was Camara and Senesi. And this has got a little out of hand. As I don't know if the referee's given a free kick to Villa, or he's going to allow Bournemouth to retake the corner. I think he might have given a Villa free kick. Marcus Senesi's just going to get a talking to from the referee here for this. It's got a little bit scrappy in these last minute or two. I don't know if the referee will allow them to retake the corner. I think he will. He will. He was just having a chat with both players, Camara and Senesi, for the collision. No foul was given. I think the referee's just going to give the corner. He has. So they'll retake it here, Bournemouth. The corner wasn't taken as the whistle was blown, so it will be retaken by Bournemouth. Taken short this time by Kluivert. Semenyo whips it round the back post, but far too much of a whip. And it's going to be a goal kick. Time is running out for Bournemouth here. They've just over 5 minutes of normal time to go, with the extra man advantage against a Villa side leading by a goal to nil here at the Vitality. Ollie Watkins right at the brink of half-time, giving Villa the 1-goal lead, which they've held up until this point. A big 3 points that would take them just goal difference outside of the top 5, and it would see Bournemouth 2 points off the top 8, which could still reap a European result and a European qualification place by the end of the season. Oh, Villa have got a break of the ball here in the edge of the box. Onana. Second goal would dead it, but Onana's through ball was a bit wasteful as Kepa gathers. As they're going to try and make some more changes here, Bournemouth, in a minute. But a breakaway for Kirkes. Now down the left comes Kluivert. Justin Kluivert dribbling towards the box. Lays it out wide to Kirkes, whose cross was whipped in. And it's headed across at the back post by Zabarnyi, but right down the throat of Emi Martinez, who holds it like a newborn baby, because that's how much gathering that ball could mean to Aston Villa at this late stage. And there's going to be another double sub here for Bournemouth in a moment. I couldn't quite see who it was getting ready, but there is 2 players in Bournemouth colours going to be entering the fray. It's Howson with a little slip and a loose ball. It's collisions everywhere. Bodies land on the floor like a morgue there at the back as Bournemouth come flying forward here. Tavernier, there's ample support in the box. Tavernier tries to cross, blocked. Bounces back out to Kirkes. Out wide to Tavernier again. Back inside to Kirkes. Now Cook lays it off to Kluivert. Can they find one big moment? Can Bournemouth? Tavernier whips it in, but right into the hands of the Villa keeper in Martinez again. Villa are going to make another change as well in a moment. Ian Matson's ready and waiting to enter the fray. Well, Villa haven't tasted defeat to Bournemouth in their last 4 meetings. The last time Bournemouth beat Aston Villa was a 2-0 win here in August 2022. Villa have won 2 and drawn 2 of their last 4 meetings. The last meeting here was a 2-2 draw back in December 2023. In that one, Bournemouth led twice, but were pegged back twice. As they're going to make changes here for Bournemouth. So Ilya Zabarnyi is going to be replaced by Julian Araujo. And the second substitution for Bournemouth is going to see Daniel Jebison come on, and he's going to be the replacement for Milos Kerkez. So on comes Araujo and Jebison, and they're replacing Kerkez and Zabarnyi. So it's all hands on deck. It's hell for leather. They're throwing the kitchen sink at it now. Use whatever phrase you want. Bournemouth are going all out attack, because they've no choice to. And Ian Matson's going to be coming on here for Aston Villa at the moment. And it's going to be Morgan Rogers coming off, so a defender for an attacker, just to try and solidify things in the Villa defence to the final whistle now. 90 seconds of the 90 minutes remain, plus any additional time for Bournemouth to try and get an equaliser. Bit of head tennis in the middle here. Onana and Cook colliding, but Onana comes out the better. Here's McGinn, and forward running is Ollie Watkins. Senesi tussling and battling, and it will be a throw-in to Bournemouth there. Marcus Senesi defending very well. One-on-one with Ollie Watkins. Jebison, his first touch and involvement. Keeps a hold of the ball and swings it out to the far right side for his opposite substitution that joined him in Julian Araujo. Here is David Brooks now in space for Bournemouth. Time running out for the Cherries to take something out of this game. And it could be impactful come the end of the season, whether they win and get 8th place and get a European spot. Here's Brooks. Around the corner to Tavernier. Blocked off. Tavernier. Back to Kluiverts. Bodies arriving. Here's Senesi arriving. And Senesi's delivery is cleared away by Digne. Semenyo keeps it alive. His 90 minutes have surpassed. 5 added minutes here at the Vitality. As they try and whip a ball in. It was blocked. Will be a corner to Bournemouth. And they've scored the most goals, plus 90 minutes, Bournemouth, of any Premier League side, 8. Villa have conceded the second most of 8 in the final minutes of the game, as that header came from nowhere, but it went nowhere also from Marcus Senesi. Goal kick. And that was Bournemouth's 10th corner of this match. And Villa haven't had a corner all afternoon. They haven't been able to make any sort of benefit from it, Bournemouth, whatsoever. Talk about set pieces and how they can really change the tight games, and on this occasion it's Bournemouth's lack of threat on those set pieces from corners and letting them down. Here's Huyson. Back to Kepa. Almost played it right to Ollie Watkins there. It's Huyson. They can't be toying about at the back here, Bournemouth. Running out of time. 3.5 minutes. They try and get something out of this game. Here's Brooks. Driving forward, David Brooks. Swings it out to the far left, finding Kluivert. Bodies in the box. Justin Kluivert lays it off. Brooks chips it over the top, but again, too far away from anybody in black and red, and right into the hands of the Villa goalkeeper, Emi Martinez. I think overall, if you had to really analyse this game and assess it, what you would say that Bournemouth have done so well, they've had a lot of good build-up play and a lot of that. But one thing that's let them down is their quality in and around the final third and in and around the 18-yard box. That's what's let them down today. And Villa only needed one clear-cut chance through Ollie Watkins. And that was, it should be and probably could be enough to see them through. Unless Bournemouth can conjure something up in the next 2.5 minutes. That's all that remains of this game. Araujo's delivery. Headed away by Konsa, who was booked a few minutes ago, by the way, Ezri Konsa. Oh, Heysen left an open space there, but he had it closed by David Brooks helping out. Senesi. Down the left side, here's Tavernier in space. They can find that one ball, that one chance, Bournemouth. Can Villa hold on? This would be a great result for Villa if they can see it out. Kluiverts swings it out wide to Julian Araujo. Inside to Brooks, who rolls it forward. Chipped over the top by Cook. But again, that chip ball, far too much on it. Goal kick. And not much time remaining. Well, Aston Villa and their fans might be on the precipice of creating what will be a dramatic final 2 weekends of the season. Villa winning, this will be their 18th win of the season. They would be on 63 points, the same as Newcastle and Chelsea above them. Unless Bournemouth can have one final chance. With a minute to go, here's Tavernier. Arriving into the final third. Brooks. Tavernier. 1 minute to go. Tavernier's wet ball. Header the back post. Oh, it's over the bar. Right on the line. By Jebison. Oh my goodness me. I don't know if Matty Cash had a clearance in it either. Ball by Tavernier into the box. The header by Semenyo. And it's off the line, I think. Semenyo gets it across. It's beaten the keeper. And it was Jebison at the back post. And did he head it on to Cash's head, who was there? Will it be a corner? Will it be a goal kick? It looked like a goal kick was given. What a moment for Bournemouth. And Matty Cash right to the very death. Defending every single situation. And he needed to, because that would have been a golden chance for Bournemouth. And now they run to the corner flag. They're not going to get that chance. And there might be... Is there one last opportunity for Bournemouth? The 5 minutes are up. The final whistle awaits. There it is! Aston Villa get the job done. They might have been down to 10 for the final 15 minutes. But Bournemouth could not find a way through this rambunctiously stubborn Villa defence, who have been solid all afternoon. It's an equal measure, a strong defensive performance from Villa and a poor attacking performance from Bournemouth, who failed to have any clear-cut threat in and around the box all day. They tried their utmost in the final minutes of this game with the extra man, but once again they couldn't get the job done. And they will have to wait and hope the final 2 games of the season go their way if they want 8th. But for Aston Villa, it is game on for the race for the Champions League. Level on points with Newcastle and Chelsea in 4th and 5th. Villa move up to 6th. Just goal difference is what's keeping them out of the top 5. A hard-fought win. Ollie Watkins with his 16th goal of the season, his 75th in the Premier League era for Aston Villa, making him their outright top scorer in the Premier League era. And Ollie Watkins seals the victory for Aston Villa. A massive victory. Final score at the Vitality Stadium as the Villa fans celebrate with their players. It's finished Bournemouth 0, Aston Villa 1. Wow, 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 wow. The narrowest and finest of margins, and Aston Villa get the job done. And what could that mean for their chances of back-to-back Champions League campaigns? Andone Iraola's side were the better on the ball. They just couldn't find it in the final third. That's what let them down today, and Villa's defence held strong, held firm, and held out in getting the 3 points. Fantastic for Aston Villa. Let's show you the table then, and what that means. Here it is. Aston Villa move up to 6th with 63 points from 36 games, 2 to go. Newcastle play Chelsea tomorrow, so both of those cannot find 3 points tomorrow. So either one of them will be on 63 or 2 of them will be on 64, which it's well within touching distance of Aston Villa right back in that race. It means Forest now need to win to get themselves right back in the mix tomorrow as they host Leicester, and there could be just a point between 4th and 7th. There could be just 2 points by the end of the weekend between 3rd and 7th. It could be the most almighty finish for the race for Champions League. It's incredible, and we cannot wait to bring it to you. We'll wait and see what Nottingham Forest do tomorrow, but it's Advantage Villa who will see what happens at St James's Park tomorrow and know in their final 2 games of the season, at home to Tottenham and away to Man United, who have a Europa League final on their minds, those 2 clubs, to the end of the season. Villa know they get 2 wins between now and the end of the season in their final 2 games, and they might just be heading to the Champions League again. Incredible. And Ollie Watkins celebrating with the fans there in the away ends. Right, that's it from us this evening. Don't forget to join us though, 12 noon tomorrow, because it's a huge game at St James's Park as these 2 try and respond to what Aston Villa have done this weekend and actually take advantage of what Man City couldn't do earlier this afternoon. Newcastle take on Chelsea as 4th face 5th tomorrow, 12 o'clock here on LFS. Hope you can join us for that. Thank you very much for joining us this evening on this Saturday night action as Bournemouth beaten by a narrow 1-0 scoreline in the end by 10-man Aston Villa. Villa on the race for Champions League. Bournemouth not quite in the race for Europe in the top 7, but certainly in the race for 8th, and that's still very much in the battle as we head into the final 2 weekends of the season. Join us tomorrow for that almighty tussle at St James's Park from noon. But thanks for your company. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.